What's going on, it's the RapNerd, and it's finally 2023, and as I've done with every single year being a YouTuber, gotta get into my most anticipated movies for 2023. Hopefully the cinema gods will bless us the way they did last year. And without further ado, let's just get into it, right? So at number 16, I have The Boogeyman. This is a film based off a short story written by Stephen King. It's going to be a streaming film, and if I read right, it's going to hit Hulu this month, actually. I'm going to read the synopsis right here, and this is what really got me when I was looking last year about what's coming out 2023. Still reeling from the tragic death of their mother, a teenage girl and her little sister find themselves plagued by a sadistic presence in their house and struggle to get their grieving father to pay attention before it's too late. Doesn't sound too crazy, right? But with it being Stephen King, I don't know how much they stuck to his book, but it's always more to that than what we see. And just because of it being, based off his story, it intrigued me. I love a good old-fashioned paranormal in the house film. It doesn't help that I'm also a fan of Boogeyman #1 back in 2005, which I think is something completely different. And there's a sequel to Boogeyman, to that movie where it's like some killer in a mental hospital. I like those two movies, so at bare minimum, this movie should be at least good as those two. And one other thing that intrigued me about this film is the director, Rob Savage. He directed Host, that dropped on Shudder back in 2020, an original horror movie. It was a found footage film. And he also did Dashcam, which dropped 2022 as a matter of fact, and it's also a found footage film. So I think both those movies were a damn good time. They both were scary as hell. And it makes me think about what this movie is going to be. Like, is this going to be another found footage movie? And if that's the case, it just opens a whole different lane of possibilities. And also makes me wonder, if it's not a found footage movie, how will that filming style translate over to like a normally shot film? So it has my attention for that. I got that at number 16. At number 15 is Bia is Afraid. I think I said the name right, Bia. If not, excuse me. It was originally titled as Disappointment Boulevard. Stars Joaquin Phoenix, which is a plus that really hit me like ding, 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 gonna watch. And it's directed by Ari Aster, which is another ding, 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 ding name for me. Knowing that Ari works in the space of horror, he already has my sights open. He's a guy that I feel like is one of the newcomers that's really crafting his own style of film, like he did with Hereditary, which is classic, and Midsummer, which is another great addition to his filmography. So for him to be doing a horror and then having Joaquin Phoenix starring in it, I'm all ears. The premise of this one reads, Bia is Afraid is described as a decade-spanning surrealist horror film set in an alternate present. Phoenix plays an extremely anxious but pleasant-looking man who has a fraught relationship with his overbearing mother and never knew his father. When his mother dies, he makes a journey home that involves some wild supernatural threats. I mean, when it comes to wild supernatural threats, what, Ari or Ari, how it's pronounced, I'm not 100% sure. What he did with Hereditary just makes me really look forward to this, man. It seems like a great combo, and as a horror fan, I'm happy to see him playing back in the field. So I have Disappointment Boulevard or Bia is Afraid at number 15. At number 14 is The Exorcist, directed by David Gordon Green. Now, I know after Halloween's ends and the whole trilogy he did with Blumhouse, people probably are not liking this news that he is directing The Exorcist. And if I had to assume, it looks like it might be a trilogy. Nothing has said that, I don't believe. But if it has, correct me if I'm wrong. He's helming a Legacy sequel in the same manner that he did with 2018. So this movie is a direct sequel to the original Exorcist with the girl this many amount of years later. So I just want to see it based off of David. I feel like I'm one of the few that liked all three of his films. Loved them. Like that trilogy of films are like my favorite set within the Halloween universe. I just like the modernization that he does with these films. How he to me personally, if you disagree, I get it. But I like how he takes these concepts from the original films in Halloween and brings that to today's time to give it a little more depth and more than just what the surface level of what people know this franchise for. So the irony is, the first Exorcist to me is the scariest movie ever, and I've only seen it once and I would never watch it again. But I'll watch this one. I don't think it gets any scarier than the first Exorcist. I highly doubt it does. And if it does, and he manages to scare the shit out of me, kudos. I have The Exorcist Legacy sequel at number 14. At number 13 is Evil Dead Rise. This is a reboot, I would say. Yeah, I would say it's a reboot. It's not connected to any of the past films, but I like it because of what it does and changed it up, right? So instead of going to a cabin, it's these two estranged sisters who live in a Los Angeles apartment, and they find the same book of demonology that they find in the cabin. But this time, like I said, they're in an apartment building, and once the demon gets loose, it's just running amok throughout the whole building and possessing people and all of that. And that sounds like wicked fun. If you've seen that still of that girl looking through the peephole and she has the demonic eyes with the blood on her, this could be a really, really scary but good fun time. They got some really big shoes to fill because the remake they did in 2013 still is one of the best remakes ever. It's one of the best horror films, period. I'm just excited to see what they do with it. I like taking these older movies and still keeping the core of what they are, but changing something that seems so small but makes that big of a difference. So really looking forward to this movie. At number 12 is Equalizer 3. I just love seeing Denzel, especially in a genre like this where he kicks ass, because part of me thinks that he knows how to do this for real. Love the first two, and I don't really think I need to explain why I'm so hyped about it. Like, you know, I just love seeing a black man especially playing in the same field with the John Wicks and the Jason Bournes and all of that. So like the first two, I'm going to be seeing in cinemas, and I don't think that there's even a synopsis out because I think it's still in production, but it's set to release in September, my birthday month. So that's a birthday present to me. I just want to see what's going on with that one. And number 11 is a movie that I had on my list for last year's anticipated films, but it never dropped. So I'm going to repeat it again. Dark Harvest. I feel like that concept just sounds so damn cool. For those who don't know, if you forgot about this movie completely, I'll do a little synopsis read right here. Every fall in a small Midwestern town, a supernatural specter named Sawtooth Jack arises from the cornfields and approaches the town's church, where violent gangs of young boys hungrily await their chance to confront the legendary nightmare in an annual harvest rite of life and death. That sounds nuts. Like, what? I love me a good Halloween / fall movie. That's my favorite time of the year. I know it's January, but I'm already looking forward to that time of year. And I believe this movie is supposed to drop around there. Let me see. Can I find anything of when it's supposed to release? Okay, I see. So it was set to release September 9th of last year. And that's what made me more excited, because I was like, it's my birthday month again. I'm getting spoiled, you know what I mean? But I believe what it's saying is it got rescheduled because of Amazon's acquisition of MGM in March. So that kind of changed the release date. So I definitely think it's going to get a release this year. And based off of it being bought by Amazon, I'm pretty sure they're going to put it on the app, which is fine with me, even though I would love to see it in theaters. But that concept just sounds great to me. I love the idea of that. And I believe last year I read that it was supposed to be like a period piece. I'm not really sure how much that holds because it's not giving me that here. But again, this sounds like something right up my alley, and I'm looking forward to this. So at number 11, Dark Harvest. At number 10, we have Insidious V. Patrick Wilson will be making his directorial debut. He's an actor that I've always liked. The Insidious franchise is a franchise that I like. I gotta give props to this franchise and The Conjuring and what Juan did, because he was able to give us a mainstream horror franchise that can continue to run. You know, these movies will always hit theaters, and they'll always be a fun time at the cinemas, even if they're not the greatest. Some are hit or miss, but I just want to really see what Patrick is going to cook up here. I'm pretty sure he got some help from Juan, and it's going to be the returning couple coming back, I think it said years after their son was exorcised from the demon. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. I haven't really read much about it. Since this is a running franchise, I try not to read a bunch. I just want to go in fresh because there's history here. And I'm expecting some good things, man. So at number 10, I have Insidious V. At number 9, I have Knock at the Cabin. We have a trailer. Hell, we have 2 trailers now. I'm just anxious to see what this is about. Most people have M. Night hit or miss, you know, understandably so. He has some hits, he has some that aren't that great. But to me, I find all of his films entertaining in some regard, even if the twist doesn't quite work out. Still somewhat like him. He has more bangers for me personally than duds. So seeing this trailer and it being about a family having to make a decision, or it's the end of the world, and then, like I said, the recent trailer just took shit to a whole different level. of showing planes fall out the sky, tidal waves hitting. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for it. I will be in cinemas next month to watch it, and I have that at number 9. At number 8, I have Maxine, the third entry in the X trilogy. You know, we had X, which I loved, Pearl, which I love. We have Maxine that takes place in the 80s, and I really hope that they stick to that same 4:3 aspect ratio that we saw in the little teaser when they had Maxine's name spelled out in the Hollywood sign. Ty West again is going to craft something that feels of the time and proving why this man is just a filmmaking creative genius in what he does. Don't know what this is going to be about. I assume it's still going to be in the same nature as a slasher. I don't see him taking this paranormal, but you never know. I don't know. I think Ty West is a great director. I like everything that I've seen from him, and I'm just hyped to see Mia Goth kill it again. You know, she's unrecognizable in these films. As you know, when you look at who she is, like as a real person, totally different people. Really looking forward to Maxine, and I have that at number 8. So at number 7, we have Oppenheimer. It's Nolan. I mean, this is the modern day GOAT of filmmaking. I don't even really like these kind of movies. These period pieces, they're not really my thing. But when it comes to Christopher Nolan, you can't miss his films. You just can't. You can't. You're a cinema head. You have to see what he's doing. And just based off that trailer, it gave me goosebumps. Literally getting chills watching it just at his work on full display. And I just expect greatness as I do with all of his stuff. So I don't really think I need to explain why I'm looking forward to this. You know why if you're watching this. So at number 7, Oppenheimer. At number 6, another movie that was on my list last year but never released, Salem's Lot. Now, I did a lot of researching as to why this film didn't release, because it's already shot and completed. But who knows? I definitely think it will be released this year since it is finished. But I'm just excited about seeing this movie, man. The first Salem's Lot, to me, is one of the scariest vampire movies ever, without a doubt in my mind. That scene with the kid in the window, holy shit. But I'm honestly just looking forward to see what they do with the old material. If it could be a huge miss, but it could be a huge win with today's technology, and that's the reason why I'm up in the air for it. But just the fact that I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep the same design for the vampires, this could be something that's just nightmare inducing, and I'm all the way here for it. If you've never seen Salem's Lot before or know what it is, I definitely suggest you give it a watch before the movie releases. And it's going to do one or two things for you. It's going to make you hype for it, or it's going to make you kind of weary, because, like I said, it's one of the best vampire films, one of the best horror flicks, period. The one that came out in the 70s. And I'm just excited to see that joint, yo. So at number 6, Salem's Lot. At number 5, we have Mission Impossible, The Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Let me say that. It's Mission Impossible. I mean, none of these movies are bad. It's crazy that this franchise has been running for how many years? I think the first one dropped in 1990, or was it a little later? Either way, this franchise has been running since the 90s, and I don't think any one of these movies are bad. And just based off that clip that they recently dropped, I think a few days ago, like a week or so ago, of Tom doing that stunt of jumping off a bike and just, driving the bike, riding off of a cliff, and then jumping off of the bike and parachuting. They're going to take this to another level. Easily one of the best action franchises that we have still around. And just the fact that we're finally getting another entry, because Fallout to maximize what they can do. So I'm really interested to see what goes on in this film. Tom Cruise, the last movie star pretty much, you know, based off of what happened in Top Gun Maverick, making billions of dollars. He has another one, and I'm going to be seated to see it. Number 5, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. And number 4, keeping the action rolling, we have John Wick 4. That is such irony. John Wick 4 at number 4. I swear I did not do that purposely. But again, this is a franchise that doesn't need talking about. Trailer dropped last year. I had a reaction to it. I feel the same. This feels like an anime brought to life. I just love it. Choreography. I don't think any of these movies are bad. Keanu Reeves continues to stun. The actors who come in continue to stun. I'm just looking forward to it. I feel like this one's going to be pretty damn crazy. And again, I'm going to be seated. Don't think there needs to be that much explanation. You know why. At number 4, John Wick 4. At number 3, we have Scream 6. And the crazy part about it is, when they announced the sequel to 5 was already in the works to be written, I was a little weary, because I'm like, this is this movie's coming back to back. I mean, Scream always focuses on the great writing and the mystery and the twists and turns, and we've never got these movies back to back like this. So I didn't know how to feel, but that teaser, it did it for me. Like, sign me up. I don't need shit else. That teaser got me so hyped, and just really understanding how much they're gonna lean on this New York City energy makes me so happy and ecstatic. We don't have that many slashers that take place in New York City, like having it as the beating heart of the film. So it looks like they're going that direction, and they're saying new rules. The still dropped of Ghostface holding a shotgun in a bodega. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I can tell you one thing: when March comes, I'm there. At number 2, I have Dune Part 2. Yo, this is like way too ironic. Dune Part 2 at number 2. It's crazy. The first Dune I love. I love Dune. Oh, I said it time and time again on the podcast. I've said it in my video. Like, this is my type of sci-fi movie. Dramatic, big, bold, serious, violent, mythical, space adventure. I love it. Oh boy, I can't wait for this film, because I heard Denise said that Part 1 was building up the story to understand the world, and he was like, Part 2, I get to do all of the fun stuff, and I was just like, ooh. Denis is one of my favorite modern day directors. I mean, his insight, his crafting of frames is so artful. He focuses on these character moments, and his films just feel, his characters feel intimate, like you really get to know him. He always pulls the best performances out of people he works with, so I'm just excited about this. We can get more of Part 1 with more of the fun stuff, which I'm guessing is the action. Now, at number 1 is Rebel Moon Part 1. Yes, Zack Snyder is back out to play. Let's go. Woo! If you know me, you know I am a Zack Snyder super fan. Not to be confused with a cultist. I know that's the word they throw around. I'm not one of them kind of guys. Like, I ain't that. But I love Zack, man. Every film, I heard Kevin Smith say this. He was like, there are movie directors, and then there are like movie directors. Like the people that make fucking movies that you go see on the biggest screen possible, because you know they present these epic scale films that you have to see as large as possible. And Zack is who he was talking about. So for him to be doing a sci-fi epic, Rebel Moon Part 1, about a character whose world has come under siege of this other alliance, space alliance, and she goes to other planets rallying up the crew to come back to fight them. This shit is nuts. And the crazier part is Zack said he's been working on this for years. He came up with the idea a long time ago. He wanted to pitch it to Disney as a Star Wars movie, but he said that they never heard back. He never heard back from them. They didn't tell him no, but he didn't hear yes. And so he said he's just been like keeping this big book of just this world and all the different ways it can get carved out, and he's just been adding to it. And Netflix greenlit it. He shot the whole movie, Part 1 and Part 2, last year. So that means it's in the can, it's in post-production, and I am excited because I know Zack is going to deliver the kind of movie I wanted to see. It's going to feel like some type of space samurai. You know, the action is going to be on point. You know, the visuals are going to be on point. He's already shared photos and just little images, and it already looks gorgeous. The costumes look awesome. You know, Zack's choreography doesn't play, so you know the action's going to be crazy. You know the visuals are going to be insane. Oh boy, I really wish Netflix would put this movie in theaters for longer than a week. I'm going to go see wherever that shit is at. I don't care if it's in another state. I'm going to get a hotel. My family's going to go, and I'm going to have to see this film because, like I said, Zack is a big screen director. So if just to hold it back on the small screen, it's cool. It's still going to be epic because, like I said, Zack's Justice League never hit theaters. Still epic as hell. But something like this, oh, we got to see that, baby. We got to see that in all its glory. So, yeah, at number 1 is Rebel Moon Part 1, yo, which is more irony, Part 1 at number 1. But anyway, so those are my most anticipated films of 2023. Leave a comment below about what are your favorite movies that you look forward to in 2023. Keep it respectful if you don't see your movie on this list. And let me know, you know, some things I may have missed, like this kind of content. Make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.